12 strangers, 3 bedrooms. Just wait until you see what happens next. TV's most controversial show is back.
If they want me to play by their rules, they're gonna have to play by my rules.
Alliances, allegations, lies. Big Brother returns.
Woof, woof.
Welcome to the world of Big Brother, the oddly intense, often ridiculous, and definitely dramatic competition reality TV show that has been airing on CBS since 2000. In this long-running history, the show's function within the reality TV genre has been to provide insight on lived experiences, while also pitting cast members against each other on the hopes of winning big. Considering the increase of inclusivity-based representation on television starting in the 1980s, Big Brother spans a large history that reflects ever-changing socially dominant values. Though this push towards creating space for marginalized people was not necessarily always for them, but rather for viewers to ease their anxiety when encountering someone different from them. But first, we have to back it up just a little bit. MTV's Real World was a frontrunner in casting both queer people and people of color on a major network in the 1990s.
This is the story
Of 7 people riding in an elevator.
in an office building.
The show sought to introduce different racial, gender, sexual, political, and religious identities
to find out what happens
when people stop being polite. Could you get the phone?
And start getting real.
Big Brother came along a few years later with a very similar idea, except rather than living in an actual house and people going on with their normal lives, house guests would now all come to one CBS soundstage and stay in there until they win. Lovers of reality TV know the lack of realness that actually goes into creating these shows. Examples of this can range from selective editing to suggestions from production to a crazy wild twist that saves the fan favorite of the season. Oh my god, this is crazy. Scholar Michael Lovelock proposes the theory that reality TV can act as a mode of queer authenticity, as it reveals the perspective of a real queer person compared to fictionalized imaginings like that of a gay character in a sitcom. What he fails to recognize, though, is that producers and showrunners are intent on creating a narrative that the majority of Americans would like to consume, and this often means making queerness or any other taboo subject palatable. Lovelock's argument of authenticity hinges on the aspect of neutrality, but this proves to be a dubious claim when we look at the connection between queerness and shock value. So I've touched on a few examples of what Big Brother tries to do in its representation, so let's look at it in practice. I have narrowed down a few categories of this so-called inclusivity, and we will explore how each group functions both narratively for the viewer and socially within the show. The first category of tonight's Big Brother Jeopardy is blatant homophobia.
We've had some discussions. Hey, where's the lesbian?
Question, is anybody gay?
It's deviant, it's perverse, and it's a lifestyle that 90% of Americans don't want anywhere near their families. You know, it used to be sickos, weirdos, and freaks. Now it's alternative lifestyle.
And he said he'll never vote for me. I'm like, yeah, I'll wait till you find out I'm gay.
As you can see from this clip, the show had no problem airing these offensive moments, especially earlier on. Though the show never made any explicit statements itself, by remaining a neutral party, it ultimately upholds the homophobic remarks of the collective. This moment shows that despite goals of diversity, marginalized people are ultimately being forced to navigate unsafe environments.
Screw you, you're gay.
Yeah.
Every other word out of the boy's mouth is using gay as a negative adjective.
You're being gay? I think I look like a homo.
Are you gonna call me gay if I tell you this?
If they ever relate to me, it's like they're joking with me about being gay.
I don't care what's going on in here. I'll jump in the big margarita like my friend Will. Look weird.
Oh! They're not intelligent people, so there's no real support system for me out there, and everything is just, it's like, I just feel like I'm pretty much kept as an outsider at all times.
This clip shows the level of homophobia that Will has to endure on a daily basis, which clearly makes him an outsider within the house. The nomination ceremony is held.
Shock and awe, mine and Marvin's keys were not in the box. So Marvin.
Yes, Will.
The black and the gay.
Black. That's what I was about to say. It's the black guy against the gay guy.
This clip not only shows how marginalized house guests are targeted early on in the game and for their identity, but also that they're pitted against one another to make sure that one of them will be evicted.
And things heat up.
In this clip from season 11 that was conveniently not aired to the public, Jeff spews outwardly homophobic rhetoric against gay men specifically.
Dumbledore.
Was written to be gay?
Yeah.
Who's Dumbledore? The big guy?
Yeah.
The wizard. The old wizard.
Why was he written to be gay?
That'd be perverted.
Why?
What do you mean, Why?
Gay men can't work with little kids?
You're gonna let a storybook of where they go to Wade fantasy camp, and it's all little kids living without their parents, and the guy is gay?
He equates being gay with being a child predator, which dangerously represents the LGBT community as a over-sexualized, deviant lifestyle choice.
Think about what it is.
For our next category, we're going to look at how queerness can invoke comedy within itself because of homophobic perception.
Nate?
Oh, man. I think he's very closet. There's no way that he's not.
Shut up. No way.
No, I'm telling you, there's no way.
I'm never hanging out with him again.
There's no way.
He's certainly a fruitcake.
The editors of Big Brother also contributed to this narrative by slicing in footage of Nathan shaving his arms, because that's obviously, you know, the big tell of being gay. Allison and Donnie find Nathan's proof of homosexuality to be utterly hilarious. The speculation from Allison, who remained romantically on and off with him throughout the season, painted Nathan's potential closetedness as a huge joke.
Nathan is definitely a pretty boy. Like, you don't need me to tell you that. But the makeup, the nails getting done, the shaving the whole body thing, he's definitely in touch with his feminine side.
This obsession with his feminine side in direct connection to his queerness not only reflects the unacceptability of gender deviance, but also that if one does not express outward masculinity all the time, they must be gay.
Yeah, you're making me wonder. It was like a light bulb just went off in my head to verify that the dude became a fruit while he was in the house. Maybe I made him turn gay, I don't know.
Both the players and the network alike formulated this narrative using the suspected queerness as a comedic bit to show the wacky ways of the Big Brother house. The next type of cast member is one that holds multiple marginalized identities and therefore is perceived and used as the ultimate diversity pick. This character is pigeonholed by the many layers of their identity because they are easily seen as different compared to the people around them. In Alfred L. Martin's book, The Generic Closet, it describes the experience of Black gay characters in sitcoms, remarking that they are reduced to a generic closet due to the confines that their identity is allowed to be expressed. Martin writes of the 3 Ds, detectment, discovering, and discardment, though its application for reality TV is a bit different. Due to identity-based narrative creation, especially people of color, are stuck within the bounds of perception and are tokenized. These players are also more likely to be targeted from the onset and to have their game cut short early, which kind of reflects the discardment aspect. Marcellus, who starred on the 3rd season of Big Brother, was the first Black and out gay male contestant, and recalls the pressure of this experience.
And still to this day, I get notes from people who are like, oh my God, I came out to my parents because you were on television. Or, oh my God, the first conversations I had about being gay were because I saw you and you were someone that was like me. I was like this kind of historic house guest because I was the first Black gay kid.
Kevin, who starred on season 11 and then in this clip, season 22 of Big Brother, echoes the sentiment of feeling the pressure of doing your community right.
I really am a firm believer of representation matters. I became obsessed with Big Brother because of the representation this show has offered. Now I have the privilege of representing the LGBT community now, and I want to make sure that the entire community feels like I'm doing a good job representing them. And it feels like, you know?
Though this moment is still very palatable as it applauds Big Brother for diversity, which is not true at all.
We have dimensions to our personality, you know, we're just like everybody else.
Kevin's final point exudes that good old homonormative spirit, but it's not to necessarily blame him for the way his words were construed, as producers ultimately do have final call. Production is using Kevin to speak for his marginalized identities and putting him on a pedestal to then speak for also Big Brother's allyship. Ultimately, the sentiment reflects the ideals of a neoliberal, colorblind society. The show has included more queer cast members in recent years, which has meant the inclusion of coming out stories. Though this representation is very important and Big Brother loves a very emotional moment, this clip of Casey talking about her experience is particularly vulnerable.
You never talked to me about like your family thing. Did you came out to them?
Yeah, first person I came out to was my dad. It was like high school, like freshman or something. I was like, hey Dad, did you know I'm into girls? And he was like, oh yeah, I already knew that. My dad just accepted it. I never really came out to my mom until a few years ago. because I knew my mom's like, she's an old school Filipino lady.
And she didn't know that you were?
She suspected it, but she was kind of, I feel like, just in denial, you know. So
I was waiting a long time to have this conversation with my mom, and to finally, you know, have it and actually say that, yeah, I'm into girls. It hurt a lot because my mom just didn't understand. It would be awesome if my mom could just fully accept me for who I am. I know she loves me. And I know she's proud of me. I know she is.
I know this sounds cheesy, sketchy, because it's what everyone says, but it really is true. It always gets better.
Yeah. Yeah.
The length of the clip, the diary room excerpts of her crying, and the ending sentiment of "it gets better" all tell a certain narrative about queerness. First, emphasizing this internal sadness of homophobia that is ultimately due to systemic issues, and contrasting it with the hope of tomorrow, upholds the idea that queer existence is inherently sad. The best thing about this, however, is that Casey went on to win her season, making her the first Filipino-American lesbian winner of Big Brother, which is pretty exciting. In the most recent season of Big Brother, Michael was a queer favorite, known for his many competition wins and him being an early-on favorite to win the game. He was open about his gay identity and his fiancée Hayden, and expressed interest in representing his community well.
It's great to see LGBTQ plus representation in a movie on a big screen. Growing up, I didn't get to see that, and I wish that I had. Wow. Look who won the rainbow power of veto. This is for Hayden. This is for every queer kid out there who maybe finally sees himself on TV. Just know that you are out there, you are valid, you are loved, and you matter, and this is for all of you.
This leads me into my final gripe of queer representation, which boils down to the mere lack of gay people on the show. The showmance, an integral part of Big Brother that happens every season and gives straight cast members a further insight into the way they go about relationships and just another layer of their personhood. Big Brother is actually better at pairing people together than The Bachelor, which is crazy. But for the past 20-odd seasons, there has not been a queer showmance. This happens because maybe one or two gay people, usually a gay man and a lesbian, are cast per season, resulting in the impossibility of a queer showmance and therefore outward queer love. However, the lucky viewers of season 16 got to see the friendship between Zach and Frankie.
I am not gay, but the bond that Frankie and I have is so genuine and sincere that I truly feel like he is my boyfriend.
Dearest Zach. I mean, he's just like a little puppy dog. He just follows me everywhere that I go. We cuddle in bed, we do meals together, we do weights together, we go in the pool together, make up dances together.
What I do like about this representation is that it flips the narrative of the gay guy pining after the straight man on its head. Frankie clearly has agency and is not painted as weird or creepy.
I think Frankie and Zach are gonna have a showman.
Frankie, can you just like caress me?
I like gay people.
It's not to say that homophobia didn't happen on the season, and also Frankie was loved by production for his celebrity status, so that might have gone into how they framed him. This still does exist as some positive, queer, maybe homoerotic representation. But it is sad that this is the only queer love that we're afforded throughout all of Big Brother's history. By crafting queerness as an insular experience and not affording queer people the opportunity for emotional vulnerability beyond their own identity experience, it ultimately pushes the narrative that queer people are inauthentic and vapid. Ultimately, what many of these examples boil down to is that queer people are posited through the lens of failure. Researcher and professor Jack Halberstam suggests that capitalist logics cast the homosexual as inauthentic and unreal, incapable of proper love and unable to make the appropriate connections between sociality, relationality, family, sex, desire, and consumption. But Halberstam suggests that within this failure lies the possibility for resistance. Failure to some means that alternative lifestyle that does not operate within heteronormative bounds. But to queer people, this is often seen as a chance for liberation and freedom from a system that was never constructed for them in the first place. Overall, Big Brother is known for its constant stream of controversy that is inevitably produced every season. While many offensive moments remain hidden, the show has relied on the shock value of social issues. These choices ultimately serve the network in terms of higher ratings, more attention, and ultimately a higher profit. This also serves viewers who are looking for conflict, drama, or just general entertainment. Because the network knows it has this viewer base, it can capitalize off and weaponize the value of social progress. The show ultimately does need to make money in order to keep airing, and thus presents the ever-present problem of capitalism. Instances of homophobia, racism, and misogyny are moneymakers in this genre of television, which ultimately transforms moments of pain and ostracization into the opportunity for a controversial click. Not only do these issues persist on Big Brother, but people who are making bigoted and offensive comments are still taking home the $500,000 or winning America's Favorite House Guest 2 years in a row, Jeff Schroeder. Though I really do love Big Brother, it's clear that it has a lot of work to do, and it will probably never be a subversive piece of media. Thank you for watching, and remember,
Big Brother is watching you.